Hi everybody. Welcome to Junk Drawer Art with Miss Riley. I'm Miss Riley. I would wave, but I'm holding my tripod a little bit. Yes, before you ask, today we are recording live from my bathroom because there's a lot of loud activity going on in my house today, and I needed a place with a big area to work on. I'm actually working on the floor. And I needed a hard floor. You'll see why, because I'm going to be weaving today, and I needed an area I could press down on. And the bathroom was just the best place. You can make art anywhere, even if it's in your bathroom. Also, I'm proving to my students, I tell you all the time, that I love Japanese artwork, the artwork of ancient Japan, especially woodblock prints. And so here's my proof, giving you a sneak peek. I have my art right up there, see, hanging up in my bathroom. Art teachers even have art in their bathrooms sometimes. So today I'm starting new themes, and today is Thursday. So I'm doing, I guess we could call it like Thread It Up Thursday, where I'm going to be introducing some kind of fabric or thread-based craft. Now today we are working with paper to start because we're going to be doing weaving, and I always start weaving with my kindergartners and my first graders. We always start with paper, so I figured this would be an easy way to ease into it, and then as we go on, maybe in a week or two, we can start to maybe weave with some string. So if you are out grabbing groceries or at a store and you see some yarn and you don't have any at home, that could be something to grab. And don't worry if you don't, we can use shoelaces, we can use plastic bags. I'm going to show you a lot of things you can weave and make fabric crafts with that you have around the house. So today we are going to be doing op art weavings. I talked to you guys about op art a few weeks ago when we worked on our op art drawing work. Now today we're going to be working op art into our weaving. I'm actually going to show you the same slide I showed you last week or the week before, just because now you can see it a lot better with my new digital editing. And so op art is, and in case you missed it, op art is a style of art that uses optical illusions. We did our hands last time. Op art relies on shapes and lines to kind of trick your mind. The op is short for optical illusion, and it's literally tricking your eyes. It's you see these a lot of times in magazines or in newspapers, and a lot of times in artwork. Actually, the work of art you're looking at right now is by M.C. Escher, and M.C. Escher was kind of ahead of the curve. Most op art was made later in the 1900s, but he was before that. He was a little bit ahead of his time, and a lot of his work wasn't appreciated when he was alive. So he was one of our first op artists. This one is called, if I remember correctly, called Drawing Hands. Look up his work. You've probably seen a lot of it. You haven't realized that he did a lot of work. The famous piece with the staircases that seem to go in circles on and on. That's one of his pieces. If you just Google op art, you're going to see some really amazing things. A lot of op art uses shapes and lines. My shirt would kind of be an example of op art style. That's why I wore it. And it uses a lot of black and white to play tricks with your mind. So actually I'm going to be using black and white today as my basis for my weaving. So let me go ahead. I'm going to pull this down to my work spot. I'm going to show you guys what we're going to be working on today. So let me get it settled and let me get scooted back. What we're, like my little raccoon slippers. So what we're going to be working on today is actually this. I'm going to hold it up so you guys can see it. This is one that I finished and made. And so it is a weaving like I do with kindergartners or first graders, but I cut the lines in a little bit different to give it this really cool op art effect. It makes it look like the shape is popping out of the page. So I'm going to show you guys how to do that. If you are a parent at home with a kindergartner or a first grader, this might be a little tricky, especially to start out with. If they've been in my class, they know how to weave. So you might be able to start with it, but I'm actually start by showing you guys the simplest of simple, how to create a weaving that's straight. And then I'm going to show you the difference that I did to make our op art weaving. So the first thing you do is start with a big piece of paper. I would normally, let me get this over, there we go. I would normally start with black paper for op art to make it pop out. But I'm going to do this on white paper so you can see my lines, and you can recreate it on black paper or any paper that you have. So the first thing I'm going to do is fold it in half. and crease it out. My kindergartners know we did this year, and we did rainbows and we made clouds. So we literally just cut the shape out into a cloud. You can do that too if you want to shape it off a little bit. But I'm just going to kind of, you don't even have to use a ruler. You can if you want to make these straight lines. If you can just draw straight lines. The more space between your lines, the easier it's going to be. So if I'm starting off with a little kid, like if I had John in here, I would probably just do 4 or 5 of these lines. And what I'm going to do here is, sorry, let me hold it up so you guys can see this. So I just drew lines. I'm going to start at the folded point, right there where I folded it, and I'm going to cut out. But when I get to the edge, I'm going to stop short. And I'm going to leave about an inch or 2. So I haven't cut it completely. And I'm just going to continue and go down the line. Oops. And cut every one of those. Oh, sometimes it gets a little caught. There we go. The straighter your line, the better it'll look. There. So I've literally what is kind of like a big comb. And you've got your pieces at the top. So nothing's been cut off. It's still all attached by this little bar that I left. So now I can open it up. And I have all my pieces. We call this the warp. And the pieces that we weave into it are the weft. So I've just cut a selection of different colored pieces. If you want to make it look really nice automatically, you can do it Roy G. Biv, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and then purple, indigo, or violet. And when I start weaving, I just do an over-under pattern. So I'm going under, over, under, over. And if you want a little bit of security, if you're sure you've got it in the right place, you can actually take a glue stick and put a little dot here and a little dot there. And I teach kids, I've done different things when weaving. We've said it's a rabbit jumping in and out, a snake going in and out of the grass, any different example of something that could hop in and out. Now, a lot of kids when they weave, when they do their over-under, they want to follow the same pattern and have the next color match up with the one before. Now, this does a cool design, but this is not weaving, because the point of weaving is to form something that would kind of stand on its own and stay together. This is weak and the pieces will slip back out. I actually want to start the opposite way. So if my last piece started over, I want my next piece to start under. So under, over, under, over, under, and I push it, I always push it in tight. Glue, same concept. Pull it back, dab a little bit of glue, press it down, pull it back, dab a little glue, push it down. And the cool thing about weaving in this style is, as you turn it over, you create that checkerboard pattern on both sides. My next color, start opposite. So here I started under. Now this one I'm going to start over, under, over, under, over, and keep it going, gluing it down, pushing it tight. So this would be like my traditional weaving. If I wanted to do this cool op art effect, nothing changed in this in the over under. What changed was how I cut my lines in the beginning. So instead of folding this piece in half and cutting lines straight across, I'm actually going to cut my lines on this other piece at an angle. I'm still folding it in half. But this time, instead of cutting my lines from the fold, I'm going to use a ruler to measure them out. So the first thing I'm going to do is come along my paper and find about the middle point. Doesn't have to be perfect. If you are nitpicky and you want to measure it with a ruler, you go right ahead. This is 12 inches and half of 12 is 6, right? Yeah, you got it. You can practice a little math. And I'm going to put a nice big dot right on the edge of the paper. So that's going to be my point. You see it down there? Boop, right there, halfway. So now what I can do is, instead of making my straight lines, I'm going to use this point and I'm going to draw some lines that radiate out from that point. So I'm going to do 1, 2, 3. I'm going to hold it up so you guys can see it. There we go. So I just did some lines that come out from that point. You can experiment with it, different thicknesses. I will tell you, the thinner you do these spots in between, the harder it's going to be. The thicker they are, the easier it will be. I'm going to come over here and kind of do the same thing. If you want to keep doing lines in the middle, you can do as many as you want to. This is something fun to kind of experiment with to get your best look. There's no right way or wrong way. So I'm going to do another 1, 2, and it's all radiating out. It's coming from that one point. So instead of doing my lines straight up and down, I'm just having them come out from this one point. So what I'm going to do now is cut the lines in the same way. You have to make sure that you cut from the folded side. So that way you get the same thing on both sides. So I've got my fold right here. I'm going to start cutting into the fold, and I'm just following those lines. But just like we did before, I'm stopping an inch or 2 short. I'm not cutting it completely off. So I'm going to come down here. Not going all the way. If you're just starting, you can even do it 2 inches. I think I did mine about 2 inches on that last one I did. If it tears, you can always tape it. It's not a big deal, or you can start over. There we go. So now when I open it up, I've got that really cool, like almost cut paper op art look. You can actually leave it like that. It would still look really cool and pop out. But I'm going to lay it flat. And now I'm going to start weaving just the way that I did in my traditional weaving. I'm still going to do my red, orange, yellow, green, blue just because it looks pretty. You can do any pattern. Actually, no, I'll do something else. We'll do a green and purple. We'll see how that looks. So I'm going to do the same thing. Over, under, over, under, over, under, over, and then you always slide it in tight. You don't want any gaps. Choose a purple. We'll do under this time. So under, over, under, over. So you have to pull it apart a little bit. Under, over, under. And of course you can secure it with a little bit of glue at the top and the bottom like I did on the other one. If you have edges that stick out, maybe you didn't measure your paper quite right or use a different tape, you can always cut those little pieces off when you're done. So don't worry about that. Over, under, over, under. It's the song of weaving. My kids get so tired of me saying over, under, over, under. So you can see the design of your warp starts to show through by the pattern left by these weft pieces that we're weaving through. I'm going to do one more just to kind of show you. So you just keep it going all the way to the edge. There we go. We pull it down. You can always push and pull on the edges so you can see that really cool design start to pop out. And I would continue it all the way until I couldn't fit any more in. Now again, the thicker your pieces are, the easier it will be. The thinner you cut these strips, the more difficult it would be. So if this is easy for you, if you're done super fast, try a tougher one, cut some thinner strips, and it'll be a more elaborate design, but it'll take you a little bit longer. So I hope that you guys have a really good time today. Let me scooch back in and look at you one more time. Hi. I hope you guys have a really good time today doing your op art weavings. It's a little chilly outside. Hopefully it'll be warmed up by the time you see this. So this is a good one to do inside. Tomorrow for Fun Friday, John and I are going to have a really silly fun activity for you guys to do with magazines. So if you have some magazines laying around the house, collect them and find them, and we're going to show you something. It's going to be really silly and fun. We're going to have a really good time with it. So as always, if you have any examples of your op art weavings that you would like to show me, you can send them to me on Dojo. If you're one of my kids, you can, my Oakhurst kids, you can send them to me on Facebook, or you can send them to me on Twitter or Instagram at CS Riley Teach. I hope you guys have an awesome Thread It Thursday, and we will see you guys tomorrow for Fun Friday. Have a good day. Bye.